Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Eastern Lariat podcast, your show for news, notes, reviews, and opinions on the world of Japanese pro wrestling here on cagematch.net. I'm your host, STRIGGA, and as always, I am joined by my man, Dylan. And Dylan, we've talked about it off the air. We talked about football, the World Cup off the air, but we also talked about the heat wave here in Germany right now. It's looking at it right now. It's 84 degrees Fahrenheit in my apartment. It's supposed to be even hotter in the next coming days. I don't know how to cope with that. Right now, I'm sitting here just hoping to not melt away. And I want to stress one thing pretty clear here. This is not a hot summer. This is the signs of climate change that we're having, and it's going to be like that for the next coming years for us. So we got to bear with it. We got to find a way to make it work for us, and we're going to live with it. So, Dylan, how about this show that we're supposed to do? We're in the middle of the final group stage games here at the World Cup. We just talked about it off the air, like we said. But not only in football or in soccer, we have a massive tournament that is going on right now. But you also have a massive tournament ahead of us with the G1 climax of New Japan Pro Wrestling. How excited are you now that we are at the play-ins, that we know that Yuto-Ice and Aaron Wolf are in? How excited are you about the G1 climax?
Do you think that perhaps the G1, one of the big news stories from the initial announcements was that they have taken away the third qualifier for the finals? It's a straight semifinalist this year, 2 from each block, which we both approve of. And especially, yes, absolutely. Do you think that that was a response towards FIFA mandating third members of each group in World Cup, or not each group, but the best, quote unquote, of the third members to this G1 ass World Cup booking that we have right now?
Yeah, the 8 best third places from 12 third places are going through. I'm guessing that New Japan Pro Wrestling just wanted to change it up, or thought that the format that they did in the last couple of years wasn't really fruitful, wasn't really what they thought it would be. And quite frankly, it made the tournament less predictable. That is a positive. But the negative is that they made some very stupid decisions to that had guys advance in the group stages that you really shouldn't have advanced there. So making it easier that just the first 2 get through, that should be the way to go. You can still have like tiebreakers. You can still have playoff matches like we had in the Champion Carnival this year due to injuries. There was unfortunate circumstances, but you can still have like these tiebreakers and these decision matches that spice things up. So that is still an opportunity.
Yes, absolutely. And I do want to say congratulations. Rounded back, both of our countries so far are undefeated in the World Cup, both Germany and Mexico. Now, hopefully, fingers crossed, they will be by the time everyone hears this. They still will be, but we're both going to advance either way, even if we lose the third match. So it's a guaranteed shot there. So congratulations to that and all the other good teams out there, good countries. Hopefully, everyone's having a lot of fun with that. This G1 historically has been a time where this is a time a lot of people lock in, I feel like, to New Japan. Like, good, bad, indifferent. A lot of times they will show up for the G1 and be into it and follow along with it. But looking at this block, right, these blocks right now that we've had, we still have 2 play-in matches to go as well. So it's not completely in, but we could guess who the 2 following will be. I think it's not. I personally don't think that there's a lot of drama with who's going to win the last 2 matches. But nevertheless, I think that when you look at these blocks, they're running into a big problem. And that's that there's just no new interesting matches that they can run that are fresh, that we haven't seen before. You know, when you look at this lineup,
that is one of the points that I actually also wanted to bring up to you, because when you compare it to the Best of the Super Junior, it's really obvious that they just don't bring guys from the United Japan front,
right?
Which they use for the junior division. They brought in guys from DDT, from Dragon Gate, also from CMLL, of course. But for this G1 Climax, once again, we only, of course, we have Takeshita, but he was in last year and he's kind of a New Japan guy now, of course, with his 3 contracts that he has. The only one that we have is Gabe Kidd, but he is a New Japan wrestler that was in before too. So there really is no one from the outside that would actually bring change, bring a breath of fresh air, because we of course you can mix these guys up in different blocks. Yes, you can, but it's the same roster that we see all year. And now they are going to do this round robin tournament. When I'm looking up and down the blocks, it is we surely are going to get some really good matches, but my excitement level for this tournament isn't really as high as it used to be years past. That is, of course, also due to the fact that we're missing talent that made the G1 Climax so outstanding in the late 2010s. But also due to the fact that they just don't make use of this, Japan office that they are actually running. And I am puzzled why they do for the juniors and why they don't for the heavyweights.
And you look at this lineup here. I'm going to go through a 3-name stretch. I'm looking at the blocks right now. And these 3 names are all in a row.
Yeah.
Okay. Jake Lee, Sonata, Great-O-Khan. All of these people have had multiple tournaments, not just one. Sonata's been here a decade.
Yeah.
We saw it. His entrance on Dominion. We'll get to that. He's had so many different
parts of Dominion.
Yes, I also agree with that as well. But these guys have been around forever. And they've done all they could do. Like, they've wrestled, even Jake, who's not even been here that long, he's wrestled basically all of these names at some point he's in the block with.
And
there's
on top of
no fresh matches. Yeah.
On top of that, I made the point on Straight Wrestling when I talked with Flosh. I am of the belief now that Jake Lee is actually doing a bit in which he tries to be as of a bad wrestler as he possibly can, and he wants to see how far he can come with that without being cut from New Japan Pro Wrestling. I think this guy has a bet with someone backstage, and he's on his way to win.
I said that when I reviewed Dominion for the Patreon, patreon.com/Eastern Lariat. I said, with the new ownership coming in, if they're looking to shake some things up, and there was a mandate that said, hey, we're bringing in new people, some people have to go. Those 2 names in that match, Jake and Phantasmo, would be, I'd be sweating, like I wouldn't be answering my phone if I were them. Because what does this, at least with Jake, I'll say one thing about him. His character, as awful as it is at least different. Playing this clown character.
Yep.
No one has this look or this style. The problem is it just sucks. And nobody cares about it either, based on his matches. Yeah. That whole show was dire for the crowd for multiple reasons, but we're just looking for people to contribute here and do something a little different, and then B block, you've got a lot of these guys that are the same, like Umino, Uemura. These guys have been around for like half a decade at this point in this G1. It's not like they're new players. Like, people talk about them as they're the young guys, him and Suji, but they've been around multiple years now, and they've wrestled a lot of the same people. That's where I think, to your point, bringing in an outsider or two, would help these guys a lot, just to do something a little bit different, have a different spark of motivation. And I mean, the junior tournament, it didn't always work out. I mean, Sasaki was not going to bring the best out of anybody that he wrestled, and even Hyo was more working a gimmick. But that at least gave people somebody new and fresh and inspire them a little bit. There's nobody here to do that with. The closest you can get is the two guys that won today or yesterday to get the play-in block, because they're at least all new matches, pretty much like singles matches.
And with the addition of Oscar, you get a third. Well, Oscar's going to make it through, not Yujiro Takashi. This should be the way to go. And Roy Oiwa should make the cut above El Fantasmo.
Yeah, there's no drama. Even in these matches today, there was no way that these two were not going to win. So it just makes you wonder what's even the point of certain things that they do going in. But when you look at these blocks...
it's not like that this Korakuen Hall show with these two play-in matches was hugely successful. It was a show that drew 1,195 fans or something like that. Yes, that's exactly it. And to be fair, before we go to the G1, I want to quickly talk about the show.
Yeah.
Actually, this was one of the better Korakuen Hall shows New Japan has put on in a while.
Yeah, good point.
In a long time, actually. Even counting G1 Climax shows in Korakuen Hall, because this Yuto-Ice and Taichi match was really, really, really good. They went out there, they threw heavy kicks, heavy slaps, and this backdrop that Taichi brought out was just incredible. Oscar completely went crazy on commentary. He finally won with this big boot that he has, the Cruella. I really liked that match, and I think that Yuto-Ice is the right guy to make it into this tournament. He has this aura around him that makes him special. And Taichi, on the other hand, he's not in. And Yuto-Ice made sure to state that Taichi should be in the tournament. And this, and this idea, this putting out this idea, I kind of like it. Because when you have a guy like Taichi that doesn't make the cut into the G1 Climax, the idea is to make it more prestigious. To say, oh, look who didn't make the cut this year.
Yeah.
Yoshihashi didn't make the cut. Taichi didn't make the cut. That actually is a good idea to go with. But on the other hand, you have guys in the tournament, like you just mentioned, like Jake Lee, Sanada, Great Khan, that have never done anything in this tournament of note in the last couple of years. So that then eradicates this idea of making it prestigious when random other guys make the cut because I think they want to match up against El Fantasma in Jake Lee's case.
Yeah, and I think that that strategy, I agree with you, actually. Like, what you're saying is really correct. But it's just how they do it that doesn't make sense. Taichi actually cut a promo a couple of years ago about that. That was like, it's not just that I'm not in, but also the logic makes no sense. And I think he mentioned Okan specifically that had like a low point total.
I think so.
He's like, I had more points than him last year and I just beat him. Like, and how is he in and not me? Okan ended up getting a push out of that. They actually pushed him over Naito, and he made the semis. That was one of the stupid decisions you talked about earlier, I think, because what a waste of a push that was. But if you took out Okan and Sanada and put in Taichi and Yoshihashi, that A block looks a lot better. And another thing is, those are guys that, because they keep getting left out of the tournament, it actually gives them a lot more fresh matchups than these veterans who have been here year after year. So they actually have a little bit. I mean, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme. They're not going to push either of those guys. They told us who they think they are pretty clearly. And that's what the problem is. What you're saying is true if they used it like that, but actually what they do is it just lets them get rid of people they don't see much in. They've never made a hard cut. Like somebody who's been on the cusp of a push. Like if Yuto, let's say he lost today, that would actually say that it would be stupid if that happened. But at least, and he shouldn't have even been in this match anyway. We'll get to that when we talk about the Dominion show. He shouldn't have been in this position in the first place. He should be, and same thing with Wolf. These guys should be people we look at as favorites heading into the tournament, or like strong contenders at worst. But they've told us that they're not good enough to be qualified automatically. They must earn their way in. Even when Wolf, so their argument against the Knockout Brothers was, okay, well, you lost the tag belts, so now the other team gets in. Okay, then why is Wolf in? Or why is Wolf not in when he just beat Narita and won his title, but Narita's in? What logic is there in that?
Doesn't make any sense, no.
Yeah, like they go against their own idea, but I like what you said. I just wish they would follow their own rules a little better. And the tournament, it's just not interesting because there's nobody fresh in it. You know, like they've seen these matches before. At B blocks, you've got a little bit more juice because you'll have Oscar and Wolf in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people, even though they're not like maybe difference making stars at this point, I think people do have a fondness for. Like, well, maybe not a Dominion. They didn't have a fondness for Umino there, but him and Uemura, I think they see them as people to watch at least. So like, there's something there. But when I'm looking at these matches, let me ask you, what match stands out to you in these blocks that you're like, okay, that's my match I'm circling that I want to see.
Wait a second, Dylan. I just mentioned the show from Korakuen that just went on this week.
Yeah.
I just mentioned the Yuto-Ice and Taichi match. The other one was the Aaron Wolf and Yoshihashi match. So those are the matches that are most recent. Let's just talk about these for a second here. The Yuto-Ice and Taichi match. Dylan, what did you think about that?
I thought it was good. To me, here's my problem with these matches, and both of them. Like, they were good, but I had zero doubts that things were going to play out how they did. Yeah. And I don't think they ever even tried to accomplish. These both felt like matches, we need to get through them, so we're going to have them. And that's really how I felt about them. I thought of the two, and when we talked about it, I DM'd you a bit. That Wolf and Yoshihashi match, to me, felt like a vote of confidence for Yoshihashi by the company. Not that they see him as a star, but they respect him as a worker, that he's the best person that can make Aaron Wolf look the best he can. Because this was really and truly, this was his first real match when you think about it.
I was going to bring that up. It is by far his longest singles match. The one against Evil was 12:53. This one was 19:45. All the other matches were shenanigan matches, plunder matches. And yes, Yoshihashi was great in here. And it's really damning. We also talked about that in DMs, Dylan. It's damning to see that Korakuen was leaning so heavily into the direction of Yoshihashi and not Aaron Wolf. But that is the result of what they've done over the course of this 6 months run that Aaron Wolf was on. I put out this tweet over the weekend that Aaron Wolf's first 50 matches had 47 matches against members of the House of Torture. And much like with the G1 argument that I just had, you can make arguments in favor of that, and you can make arguments against that. Arguments in favor of that, I've seen lots of them in comments to my tweet, is of course that Aaron Wolf is wrestling guys that probably trained him in the New Japan dojo and that are good workers with his gimmick attached to them, with the House of Torture gimmick. Yes, that is a good idea to have him with partners from the dojo. The other idea that I am much more in favor of, actually, and Dylan, you can comment on that as a guy that has wrestled, actually. I much prefer when wrestlers that are young into their careers wrestle as many different wrestlers that they can to actually advance in their game. That's the way that I would go. We, of course, see the young lions often wrestle each other, but we also see them teamed up with various guys up and down the roster, usually in tag matches when they get those. So that's what I would do. What say you?
Oh, well, what you said is absolutely true. You can't really grow as a wrestler unless you wrestle people better than you. And you would ideally wrestle in different styles, at least until you find who you are as a wrestler, I would say. And again, Tennessee style is not the same as New Japan. Now, like, we do have to acknowledge that fact. But still, it's been pretty tried and true. I don't think I'm saying anything too many people would disagree with. Like, you really need to wrestle people better than you. And as far as I don't agree that the House of Torture are good wrestlers with a gimmick. I think they're all universally from below average to terrible. This man worked a 2-month program with Fale. You know, like let's be realistic about this for a second. He's not going to improve wrestling bad luck Fale in any way. If anything, like I said, the thing is, and we had this conversation our last episode when we previewed the Dominion. You look at this, what they're doing with him, and everything I believe about how they book him is that they don't want him to be a star. Like, I've heard it that people were jealous of his earlier push, and it seemed like there was a warring faction split between people who saw him as a big deal and some people that, why is this guy getting a title shot his first ever match type of thing. And we see which faction won based on how they booked him. And you see which faction won when you see his entrance reaction on Dominion, which was nothing. And you see him when you see this reaction, which was nothing. And everyone was going after Yoshihashi, like you said, more and rallying behind him. They book him like a guy who's not a star. And they've done it the entire time. And this is what you get. You know, like they don't have anyone to blame. You know, you get a guy who could have been a star. Like he could have been a difference maker. But they decided they didn't want that. Yeah, and I think, and I've been over this for. I
want to stress, Dylan, that we were on the forefront of making that statement months ago, or about Aaron Wolf, and it's not gotten any better. When I'm looking at the match itself, you know, the match that he had with Yoshihashi, we have a rating of 7.98. I would go a bit below that, actually. The
Yuto-Ice that was not a 4-star match to me.
No, the Yuto-Ice and Taichi match was really much better than that. And Aaron Wolf's approach to the match for his really first big singles match, I liked when he did stuff that came with his judo background. I thought that the things that he did there, his throws and the submissions that he did, they looked really good. He looked absolutely out of his game, awful, when he tried to do this high fly flow adaptation that he calls the low fly fall, I think it's what they call it. He just can't do it properly.
Yeah.
He is getting slightly better at doing like the sidewalk slam and stuff like that he does, the power slam. He's slightly getting better at that. But for now, he really should stick to what he knows from judo and implement that to his pro wrestling, in my opinion, and just stick to these guns that he has and not try new ones that he just can't handle right now. And he can't handle the low fly fall. He almost, the first one that he did, he landed flat on his knees, which looked really terrible. So I'm not sure how he's going to fare in this tournament. That's really going to be a put up or shut up moment for him.
Yeah, I mean, I personally didn't think either of these matches were that good. Like the Yuto match or this one. I mean, they were good, but they weren't great. I'd have them both at like a 7, like rating to me, if that. Like even that, the crowd was into them. I will say that.
Yeah.
Which was better than Dominion, like that you could say. But I think that, you know, like I said, this match was stuff. These two matches both were matches to get through, not to actually mean anything more. You know, get them into the tournament because we left them out. I guess that it was part of some kind of plan, you could argue. But like I said, to me, they've told us who they think these two are. And it looks like they might be about to turn it around with Wolf a little bit in this tournament. I think that, you know, his last match, the last days against Zach, which would lead you to believe he'll have some kind of role by then, because this tournament is not star-studded either. But so you think Zach would be somebody they protect historically.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I hope it's not too late. And any criticism, by the way,
I want to stress that too. I really would like to see Aaron Wolf succeed. It's just that they've done so much to actually go to a different direction, like you said, that I'm not really hopeful right now. The G1, it could turn this perception around.
And I don't
also, but it could also cement this perception.
Yeah, we've seen them, make interesting decisions, to say the least, before. But I will say, him himself, I I think he looked pretty good in this match with Yoshihashi, especially for somebody who has been, like in the wrestling version of bubble wrap for 6 months, pretty much, wrestling these goofy matches that anybody could do, pretty much. I thought he looked pretty decent, all in all, and I think Yoshihashi did a great job, like trying to bring the most out of him. I would say, and trying to make him look even better than he is, but I can't really tell one way or the other as a skill set. I can tell his star power has gone way down in the 6 months since January 4th. That I can say. Like his skill set, I don't really have a problem with, but we just don't have enough data to say one way or the other. And this tournament's going to be that. By the end of these 9 matches, we're going to see firmly where he's at as a worker that we didn't see before, doing all this stuff the last few months. And I'm hopeful. Like I said, I mean, I've been on his side from the beginning. I know that some people in the company might not have liked his look very much, but I think it's nice to have somebody like him around. And I think I really respect his background a lot. Like you said, I think that's where he shines the most. If he can lean into who he is as a judoka, like gold medalist, that is your thing.
It's actually not that complicated when you think about it.
Yeah, like why do you have to do other stuff? Like just do you. And he's good enough on his own. He doesn't need any of this extra stuff. And I think they've totally missed the mark on that for a long time now, is that they feel like they need to add all these bells and whistles. I mean, it's really the whole company. Look at that junior tournament that we talked about. That was a tournament full of gimmicks, basically. Like nobody was wrestling straight up. Even Kushida was trying to do the foot thing in there. And you've got Yuto-Ice, who is a gimmick. I mean, like, I like his wrestling well enough, but ultimately, this rapper, like, whatever gimmick he's got going on, this street guy stuff, he plays into it very heavily. As much as his wrestling skills are, he plays into his character just as much at the end of the day. And they need to have...
Dylan, yeah. why does Lio Rush stand out in AEW/Ring of Honor?
Well, he's the only one doing this, and hopefully it remains
exactly that is exactly it. And with everybody in, well, not everybody, but some guys, really most guys in the junior tournament, if everybody has a crazy gimmick, nobody has a crazy gimmick.
Yeah, and that's why, I mean, I hated that tournament. Like, I thought that was a terrible tournament, like top to bottom. Hopefully this G1 won't be as bad as that, but I just think what I'm predicting in this tournament is that we get a lot of matches that are 6 to 7 out of 10s, like for most of it. And hopefully the final can click. Which, I mean, I don't even know. And the thing is, there's also no interesting stories going into this tournament outside of Wolf himself. But that's one that you have to know him outside of his New Japan work to even care about. You can't go these last...
Oh, yeah.
6 months has been booked well, and you have a story. You have to say this is the Olympic gold medalist that should be their top star. If you think of it like that, then his tournament's very interesting going into it. But it's not by what they've done. And besides that, what else is there? Who in this tournament is interesting, like going into it?
Yeah. Before we go to the tournament itself, you a couple of times mentioned the Dominion show. Now we did a preview of that. Terrible. I was hopeful for some matches on this show, but I want to pick out one of these matches specifically, Dylan.
Yeah,
that actually defines what the show was to me, and it was the El Desperado versus Mystico match.
Yeah, that's a very good choice. I think, if your point is what I think it is. But go on.
I've said it before the match itself. We saw that Mystico was positioned fourth on the card, the fourth match on the card, and I said before that, well, Mystico, you get a great match out of him if he's the main event guy. But here he was in a really completely meaningless singles match against El Desperado, his tag team partner that he is champions with, that resulted in nothing. Nothing came out of this match. They should have had a good junior tag team title match on this show, but they decided to do a singles match for really no reason other than they had Desperado challenge him backstage which was the reason for the match that they gave, which is a really weak reason. And it was a completely displaced match on the card that didn't get great reactions. He was just there. Mystico was just there. And then it's really astounding that these days you book Mystico on your show, and he is just a dude on the card. It was just nothing. And much like this match, most of the card was just thrown together matches that felt like nothing matches. And this was a New Japan Big Show. This was probably the New Japan Big Show that I liked the least in a long time. I want to say in years and years. It has a rating of 6.86 on Cage Match. I would go below that. I would go
way below
4 or 5, because there were good matches. The main event was pretty good. Clearly, the tag team title match was the best match of the show. The global heavyweight title match was pretty solid. It was lots of spots and stuff like that. But there were good moments on this show. The tag match on the undercard, Taichi and Yuya Uemura against Roy Oiwa and Zack Sabre Jr. was pretty good. But overall, this felt like such a disjointed show without any heart and soul to it. Yes. That's what it felt to me.
Yeah, and when we previewed it, I said, this feels like a show where they're just trying to, like, the old ownership just wants to get it over with and get out. Like, that's what I felt like with how they booked this. And that's basically what it felt like to me. The crowd was just dead for this show. Like, you compare this to the All Japan show, like, we're going to talk to. It wasn't just Mystico and Aaron Wolf that weren't over. Nobody was over, really, outside of Shota Umino in a negative way.
He just gets booed again, man.
Yeah, and Yo was over in the junior match. I will give him that.
Yes.
Like, everything else, the crowd couldn't have cared less about. Even the tag title match, I didn't think that was that great, but also I think the booking kind of like had me scratching my head as much as the match itself. And the finish, I think they could have had a great match if they got out of the weapon stuff, and the finishing stretch was just, it was, I don't know. It was just really unnecessary, a lot of the stuff they had. We get enough out of the House of Torture. We don't need it with other people adopting these kind of tactics. So it was fine. I thought the triple threat was probably my favorite match on the show if I had to pick one. At least it was interesting with the fans, and they got Drilla, like that made him look like a bigger star. Even though I thought that Umino was going to win, and he did, but still, I thought it was at least somewhat interesting. But still, up to the level, that to me is like a 7 out of 10 match, and I thought it was the best on the show. Main event was okay. They tried hard. They did some things right with that. And they had to do it with somebody who, like, it seemed like they rushed the finish, but it's fine. You know, it's fine one way or the other.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't mind it. The triple threat was pretty good. Tag titles was okay. Again, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. And the TMDK tag with Uemura and Taichi was good. Like, that would be my second favorite match probably on the show. I like that better than the tag titles, actually.
Yeah, okay.
And everything else was like bad. Like, it wasn't even average. Like the junior title, the Never title, the Jake Lee and Phantasmo match. Those were all, to me, actively bad matches. And the TV title and Despy and Mystico were totally throwaway 5 out of 10 level matches to me. Like, you could, if you never see them, you never have to, and if you saw them, you won't think about them again. Other than perhaps Mystico, like staying in the ring and bowing to the logo for doing his thing. That was very amusing, I do have to say. But they didn't even do what I thought they would do and set something up for Fantastica Mania Mexico.
Nope.
Which
just nothing.
No, yeah, this match had zero purpose. Is there a wrestler less interesting than Desperado? Like, in any company to me, like right now. Everything he does is like a nothing to me, and I'm really sick of him. And I don't even dislike him as a wrestler, but I'm sick of him. Like, I don't need this anymore. They didn't even do anything here. By the way, I did watch the Fantastica Mania Mexico show.
Okay.
That was a really good show up and down. There was no great matches or anything. Yeah, but pretty much everything was pretty good. There are 2 really good. I thought the trios match with Sky Team was really good. Tag title match was good. The main event was solid. It wasn't great, but it was fun. You know, so you got a lot of good stuff on that Fantastica Mania show in front of a hot crowd, which you didn't get on Dominion. But yeah, that show was really bad. I didn't like it at
Yeah.
all. And I think that on one hand, though, they tried. Like, okay, let's put it this way: all 5 title matches changed hands. Here.
Yes.
Like, so they're at least trying to reset things in a direction. I don't think it mattered. Like, that Tsuji thing felt like such a flat win compared to his previous win when he beat Takeshita at the Dome.
Yep.
The junior title, that was cool for the fans. But then they did this angle where, like, 5 guys came out to challenge him, and he was just like, maybe you could all fight each other here. And so it was just like, it feels like we're flying by the seat of our pants. Umino wins a title that doesn't matter in front of a crowd that hates him. I don't know if that did any good. And the tag title, I totally disagree with them changing the belts here. Like, I get that they may have wanted to add some spice to the play-in matches, but this was your one organically over act. Like, pretty much.
Right.
That's good.
Right.
And you just ruined their title reign for a team that is not... It's nothing against them. I think Hanari's a good big man worker. Like, I have nothing against him. Okan, I would never want to watch wrestle, ever. But, nevertheless, they are not the future of this company, the way an Umino or Uemura was. If you had a rivalry between those teams that you could have built into something that was a major match. Instead, you're 4th from the top in a match that gets you eliminated from, well, not eliminated, but taken out of the G1 momentarily. So it just shows you that this company, they're just in a really weird place right now. And let's just go to the tournament.
The thing about this, I quickly want to stay at this KOB title run. The thing about that is, with 2 of your upcoming big stars, you only have one chance to have a great first run, much like Yuta-Tsuji.
Yeah.
And much like Yuta-Tsuji, they blew it because they changed the belts. You can only have one chance for a great first run for the KOB. Of course, they can be tag team champions again, but they brought them in last year, and from the get-go, they were dominant guys. They won the title pretty quickly, and all of their matches were great. All of their matches were well received. All of their matches drew good houses when they were in prominent positions.
And people cared about them as wrestlers and characters.
Yes. Yeah. But they just decided to take the belts off them, and you can never go back to that. And you can never, like you said, this one with Yuta-Tsuji also felt like, well, yeah, he's champ again. You can never go back to the first run that somebody has when you do them like that. It's just crazy. They should know better.
Especially when you have no backup plans. Like, there's not a Tanahashi coming to save the belt. Like, yeah, okay, Okada's first title reign was a shorter because you had Tanahashi there that you could build to something even bigger with later. There's nobody like this on this roster. There is nobody. Takeshita is not that guy. And it's nothing against him as a wrestler. His talent level is very high. But he is not that guy for Tsuji that can just save a company or build a feud out of thin air. And that's basically what they're going to have to do. The reality of this tournament, this G1, they're going to have a main event out of thin air. Like, they're going to have to create that. I just don't know.
They have to. So let's go to this tournament. We still have 2 play-in matches on the 6th of July, I think the show is. Korakuen Hall, that is Oscar versus Yujiro Takahashi, and El Fantasma versus Ryo Oiwa, as well as Yo versus Francesco Akira for the junior title. By the way, that 4-way, really good stuff. I really liked it. It was a chaotic 4-way match. So these top 3 matches from this Korakuen Hall show are really good. Nothing that you have to watch, but it's really good matches.
Yeah,
Francesco Akira came out on top. Of course, Master Wato once again lost here. It's just what he does. And we have one of the final matches for Tiger Mask on that show on July 6th. It's Tiger Mask and Yado versus Taiji Ishimori and Gedo versus Yoshinobu Kanemaru and Dick Togo. Well, okay. So, G1 Climax. It starts on July 11 in Hoffman Estates, Illinois, USA. we have the Block A participants, and I want to say that of these two blocks, Block A is clearly my favorite block.
Yeah.
Clearly. So there could be some really good matches. Konosuke Takeshita, Hiroki Goto, Oleg Bolton, Yota Tsuji, Shingo Takagi, Jake Lee, Sanada, Great Khan, Yuto-Ice, and presumably Roy Oiwa. When you take out Jake Lee, Sanada, and Great Khan, this is a freaking great block. But we have these three guys in here that we have to get matches out of. So that is what we get. Oleg Bolton is going to be interesting, Dylan, because he has been out since May with an elbow injury, but they put him in this tournament, so I'm guessing he'll be back.
Yeah, and I'm very interested. He's one of the ones I'm probably most excited to watch, actually. But then you see who he's facing on the last night, and it makes me know that he probably won't be there.
Yeah, he's not going to be. Yeah. Sadly so. Block B, Shota Umino, Yuya Uemura, Drilla Maloney, Zack Sabre Jr., Callum Newman, Renarita, Gabe Kidd, Hinare, Aaron Wolf, and the winner of Oscar vs. Yujiro Takahashi. Imagine if Yujiro makes it.
Yeah, I mean that would be stupid, but they've made worse decisions. I'll say lately.
So, what about these two blocks?
Yeah, Wolf and Oscar, they have fresh matches. I've kind of went over my thoughts already. Like, there's just not any fresh matches in these blocks. With B, you at least get Wolf and Oscar that can do that. In A block, you get Yuto. That I think those are the people that I'm focused on. Are those three wrestlers to see how they do, because they're the new guys that have fresh matches. Everything else we've seen already, and a lot of it wasn't even that good the first time. I am interested to see Goto and Takeshita go at it. I think that's going to be a really fun match, which I don't think we've seen before.
I think we have.
We saw Takeshita and Goto?
I think we have.
Oh man, how did I forget that? My bad on that one.
Am I making this up right now? I'm going to check Red quickly with lovely Cage website.
Let's go to the facts. Oh yeah, okay, we did see it. Yeah, I remember because that was the Tanahashi show. The final homecoming. Yeah, that was a good match. Yeah, like that, but that shows you that was
7 on Cage Match.
Yeah, but remember we thought the Tsuji and Tanahashi match was we both thought that one was better that night. To be fair, but so that still though that should be a good match in there. I apologize to Keshina and Goto for forgetting your title match there. But still, I'm interested in that. Bolton have some good matches here. But those three are the ones I care about. Yuto, Wolf, and Oscar. I want to see how they do. Everyone else, it's just a matter. I'm not really interested in their matches, but I want to see how who advances, like pretty much.
So let's go to the cheat code of Block A. I think for Block A, it is less obvious than for Block B.
Yeah.
Block A has the winner of El Fantasma versus Roy Oiwa, so Roy Oiwa against Konosuke Takeshita, Shingo Takagi versus Sanada, Yota Tsuji versus Jake Lee, Oleg Bolton versus Great Khan, and Hiroki Goto versus Yuto-Ice. Those are the matches on August 12th from Act City Hamamatsu. If it was me, I would say Yota Tsuji and Yuto-Ice make it through.
Makes a lot of sense, but Tsuji's match scares me. That feels like a spoiler alert to set up a match, like going in. And because they are dumb enough to put Jake Lee in a world title match. And like that just feels like it's destined to happen next month. There. I would have Yuto should advance to me.
Clearly.
Like, but I don't think they will, like, to be honest. I think that also a thing with Goto that makes me think he's a favorite to win this tournament is that Street Fighter comes out in October. And you're going to get the most from him getting a title challenge at that point.
That makes sense.
So I think Goto is probably going to move on. And that would knock out Yuto at the end. But they should put Yuto forward. As much as I love Goto, Yuto should be one of the favorites of this tournament, as I said. But the fact that he was already not even in the main plans originally, he had to earn his way in, quote unquote, makes me... Why should I go against what they tell me what they think of these people? And just pretend that they don't. When they do. Like, so I think it'll be Goto and Takeshita that move forward.
Goto and Takeshita.
Potentially Oiwa could get an upset. Because then, I do think the way they set this up, I think all four of the play-in people will be alive on the last day. Yuto, Oiwa, Wolf, and Oscar.
Yes, that is pretty obvious to me.
Yeah. And that's like a little story of their own.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, right. So Block B, the day thereafter, August 13, Korakuen Hall. Shota Umino versus Driller Maloney. Callum Newman versus Hinari. Gabe Kidd versus Renarita. And now the two main matches. Aaron Wolf versus Zack Sabre Jr. and Oscar versus Yuya Uemura. So, to me, it's Aaron Wolf and Uemura.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that this is the time they're going to push, and we're going to see people say, "Oh, look, you wanted the Wolf to get pushed. Look at him now." I hear, and he's going to move on, and Uemura. I do think Umino and I think they're behind Drilla. I think Drilla's going to be alive on the last day too. So that's going to be a major match. I think I could see Umino making it actually instead of Uemura.
Could also make it, but
it wouldn't shock me if they just put Zach over. Like honestly, like over Wolf. Like it wouldn't completely shock me.
No, it wouldn't shock me because they've done stuff like that before. That it was stuff like that was blatantly obvious on paper, and they did the other. They went the other way. I would really move on Yuya Uemura now. They have to do something with him because, yes, I get it. It's you often talk about him not being the dude that others probably think that he is, and I always say he is one of the best that they have, and they need to make something out of him. And so they kind of previewed this match with the tag match that they had on the 23rd at the Korakuen Hall show, where Oscar and Yuya went face to face afterwards, and now they set it up that this is going to be on the final day of the tournament. So that's interesting. Should be one of the decision-making matches here in the block. I would really move on Yuya Uemura.
The problem with that is it's not about me. Where was that match on the card in Dominion that Uemura was on?
I know.
Like he's not a main eventer, like, but not because of me, but because of how they book people on there. If you want to do something with him, now is a good time. Though, I mean, when you look at this field, it's really wide open. Like nobody's really a bigger star than anyone else. Like there's nobody that's like you have to advance so and so because he's bigger. The only thing with Goto is because of the movie thing. Mm-hmm. Like that's the only advantage he had, and he was their one good champion they've had that was actually drawing. But in terms of the overall playing field, nobody's really that much ahead of anybody else. Like, if they wanted to move Uemura forward, now is probably the best time to do it.
I would say so.
On there. You could have Drilla. That's that three block. The three wrestler. I did the negative one earlier, but in the B block, there's a positive. With Umino, Uemura, Drilla all listed next to each other. Those three, like, what you do with them is going to say a lot going forward.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd rather Uemura go forward if I had to purely pick, but I think they'll put Umino in there. It's hard. I really want it to be Wolf to move forward, but that's a big jump.
The thing about Umino is it's same goes for Aaron Wolf to a lesser degree, I think. They do have these secondary championships.
That's true.
That requires them to drop at least one fall to a guy that would challenge them afterwards.
And Drilla would be perfect for Umino.
Drilla would be perfect for Umino, yes. That doesn't eliminate them when they lose once, but usually those with the belts lose more than once.
Yeah. Yeah, Umino, who would be good opponents? I actually think I mean, we don't know what's going to happen yet. Like, Umino and Uemura could both move on. Like, that's totally possible, by the way.
Yep.
Like, and I think that might happen. Like now that I think about that, just take Wolf and Zach out of that advanced mode or whatever. Maybe Wolf could knock out Zach, and that could be Wolf's moment. Like, they give him a big win, and Uemura and Umino both win and move on. I think that seems like it fits better with how they book to me than the other way.
Mm-hmm.
It knocks out Wolf though, which I want. Like, I want him to move forward, but I don't know.
You know what? Umino faces Pac at Forbidden Door, and then he faces Gabe Kidd in Yokohama Budokan.
Mhm.
So I'm guessing that he's going to lose to Gabe Kidd and Willem Maloney.
That makes sense. Yeah, the kid beating him makes a lot of sense. Otherwise, yeah, I mean that makes sense. How do you think they're going to handle Newman in this tournament, coming off of his title loss?
Interesting because they are playing this injury gimmick.
Yeah,
I could also see Callum Newman getting into the semifinals. I think Block B is pretty wide open.
Yeah, and that's what I kind of alluded to earlier. It's like really anybody could win.
That makes it at least interesting because it's so wide open. It's the lesser of the two blocks, but it's I think more interesting in the to think about who advances in this block.
Yeah, I think so too. I think on that level it is interesting beyond just the repeat matches. From a booking perspective, it is an interesting tournament. I do have to admit that fact.
Because they have to make moves. They do have to make moves. They need to create a main event for Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, exactly. I think though that they're kind of stuck on the title. That's why I said Goto might win, because I think they're stuck on the winner challenging at King of Pro Wrestling instead of the Dome, which I preferred. But
yes, I know, and that I was going to make a statement about that. Yes, of course, he's probably going. The winner's probably going to challenge again here before Wrestle Kingdom, like we had in the last couple of years. But still, though, with the winner of the G1, you automatically should have created a star that could headline Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'm presuming that Tsuji would retain in that match. Like Goto would win the tournament, and Tsuji would win, and they'd set up their real main event after that, which would be unknown. Like, because none of these people make sense. They really have to do that. Like, they have to create a main event coming out of this tournament when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, who do you think would win then? Like, based on who we've said, we've talked about a bunch of people.
I personally would go with Uemura.
And who would he beat in the finals?
Goto or Takeshita then?
Oh, you said that you thought...
Yeah, if it comes true to you, it would be Goto or Takeshita. If my prediction comes true, I would do Uemura versus Yuto-Ice, personally.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense on that end. Like, if it was... Yeah.
Because they've had the history with the two tag challenges that they had, Uemura and Shota Umino. And Yuto-Ice always came out on top. It would be Uemura's way to get payback, to get revenge on him.
If I were booking this tournament, I would have... The final for me would be Yuto-Ice versus Aaron Wolf in the final.
Makes sense.
Like, if I were booking it, that's what I personally would do. I don't think they're going to do that at all. But if they gave me control today and said, you have to control this tournament, I would set up those two as the future stars of the company. Like, I think they have the most upside above Umino and Uemura and Tsuji. Like, I think I would pick them both as my one or two if I were controlling it. I would put them in. But I can't see them doing something like that. Like, that's the problem, is that it's not the idea that's bad, it's that I don't trust them to do that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So, like that's why Goto and Takeshita is a very conservative prediction. And Takeshita is not interesting as a character at all in New Japan. But I think that's something they will go with. I could see potentially, like I said, to me, Tsuji's getting knocked out on the last night. Like, I can't imagine Jake, like, they put that match on for no reason as Tsuji's last match.
Just to scare you.
Maybe so. Maybe Tsuji will move forward. Maybe, well, because Yuto's facing Goto. Oiwa could make it. Like, Oiwa beating Takeshita. Like, could you move forward?
Yeah. Why not?
That would make sense. Maybe they could do something with Oiwa, Yuto. See, because the generations they're off a little bit. Like, if you could go there. Like, Oiwa, Yuto, Umino, and Uemura as your final four. You get a generational type of battle.
That would be good, yes, actually.
Yeah, they kind of go with Yuto, but you could argue Uemura. Like, it's not a bad call. Like, I don't think he's a main event talent, but you need somebody. Suji does not feel like the guy right now to me, even though he just won the title. I'd probably be looking elsewhere because you already messed that up. So you have another chance with one of these other guys. and I'd go, like, Uemura is not a bad pick. I like you said, I don't know if he has what it takes, but if he won, I would have no problem with that. But we'll just see. At least we have a lot of different options. Again, that's the one saving grace of this tournament, is that all of these options are kind of realistic when you think about it, for one way or the other, overall. And we'll see what they do. I mean, they've played some curveballs before, but I think that the third man being out and it just being a straight up semifinals, they're going to lock in, and it's going to be like, it's going to tell us a lot who makes the semifinals on this.
Yeah. All right. I guess that's as far as we can go with the early predictions of the G1 Climax, Dylan.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us and they take Oscar out and put Yujiro in.
Yes.
On there.
Huge gonna be in.
We got to root for Oscar and Oiwa to advance.
All right, so much for New Japan Pro Wrestling. We now gonna talk about All Japan Pro Wrestling, Dylan, and for the last couple of months, we really weren't high on the company, especially in the first couple of months of 2026. But coming off of this Champion Carnival, they had a pretty good Champion Carnival final show, a good final with Hideki Suzuki and Go Shiozaki. And then they also came off of this tournament with a pretty good stretch of shows that they did. It started out with the one from Kakuda, where the Saitos regained the tag team title from Titans of Calamity with a show that drew a good house in the hometown of the Saitos with over 2,000 fans. Then it came to the it led to the Shinjuku Face show that they did on June 11 in front of a crowd of 530 fans, in which they did an unusual main event for a show for All Japan Pro Wrestling that is not a big show. They had a singles main event with Go Shiozaki and Zion, and we said our piece on Zion, but this was a really good match between the former member of Havoc and the still member of Havoc, Zion. Really good stuff, and overall, really fun show here from Shinjuku Face. And then they went to Korakuen Hall on June 18 for the challenge for Hideki Suzuki's challenge for the Triple Crown against Kento Miyahara, that I described it to Flosh in your terms, Dylan, when we did our show. I said it was a Miyahara and Suzuki meat and potatoes match.
I think you are exactly right.
I'm pretty sure that these two have a much better match, but they just went out there and did what they have to do to create a good main event for Korakuen Hall, knowing that this show was already sold out with 1,504 fans. So really successful stretch for All Japan Pro Wrestling. They also had the All Asia Tag Team title match where Atsuki Aoyagi and Rising Hayato defeated the Gajadokoro team of Ishin and Yoshiki Kato. They are now only two-time champions with the Twin Gate and Soryo championship. Lost here to the home team, which was a given and which was well received by the crowd. And then we had this amazing tag team match, Dylan. Go Shiozaki and Yuma Anzai defeated Zuwama and Yuma Aoyagi. What a crazy-ass tag match. It went all over Korakuen Hall. Zuwama was there just being completely reckless. Yuma Aoyagi even got inspired by Zuwama, and he just, for seemingly no good reason, just attacked Ryuki Honda on commentary.
This was a great match. This whole show was great. Yeah. Like, from the crowd to the booking, the matches. Like I said, it to me, this might be the best show in Japan this year. Like, that's how I felt in ending it. Like, top to bottom. Like, it doesn't have the spectacle or the importance of like a Wrestle Kingdom or even a Queendom. But if you look at top to bottom shows, I don't think there's been a better one in any company this year. Like, that's how strongly I felt.
Statement. Yeah.
About this show. This crowd was so hot for everything, except for there was one match that wasn't over, but everything else. Well, this crowd was so hot. If you compare it, it makes Dominion look like a joke in terms of the crowd reactions. Like, this crowd lived and died by what they were seeing with All Japan, and I love the Champion Carnival. I thought that final match was great. I thought the tournament was one of the best carnivals in years. I said that after we did that. I think they've really turned it around. Pretty much since Kento got the title, they've turned this company around. I would say from the first, last year, really the whole year. I think if you really look at their year since he's been the champion, I think it started with that match with Anzai at the year-end show last year. Ever since then, I think this company's been going in the right direction. I didn't love his match with Kuma in March, but even that had a really cool story and good build-up to it. Thanks to that's another thing in their match that I loved. I mean, like I said, there's so much to talk about on this show that I loved. But the main event, I really liked the finish stretch a lot, and I liked it when I think the match was great when Hideki was on top and making Kento work a Hideki match.
Yeah.
I think when it was Kento making Hideki work a Kento match, that's not Hideki's strength. And they kind of lost it a little bit there, but they came back around. And one thing I loved, and I mentioned this about the junior match too on the Patreon review, the same was true in this main event. I love Hideki's style where he makes everything feel earned. Even stuff we've seen, like Kento doing the same stuff he always does, Hideki has a way to make it feel like he's making him fight for it, at least.
There was this fantastic moment in the match when Kento Miyahara went for his running knee strike, the blackout.
Yeah.
And Hideki simply countered it with an elbow, with nothing more than an elbow smash. And it was enough to knock Kento Miyahara down, and he had to get up and fight for it again. That was amazing.
Yeah, so I really like that. I agree with you, though, that I think they have an even better match in them if they were to face again down the line. And I gotta say, I was a little surprised by the result, because I thought it made a lot of sense to have Hideki in the title reign here to bridge to Anzai, which is what I thought was the plan.
Yeah.
But I don't hate this, though. Like, Kento winning, and he cut a promo saying he wants to go for the record of defenses.
Yes.
That at least gives this title reign a story now and a purpose beyond just your biggest star as the champion, which is good enough on its own, to be fair. But it gives it a little bit extra. So I really liked that. I thought Hideki would win, and I kind of wanted Hideki to win. But I'm totally fine with this, too. I think they did a great job in the match. I like the rating. I think the cage match rating is really good, 7.85. That's about exactly where I would have it, like a 4-star match, right in and around that area. The All Asia match was this was a ton of fun. I thought like Hayato doing a dive.
Chaotic semi-main.
Yeah, this is like the fan show up and down. We talked about the match before it, but like they were giving all the baby faces big moments, pretty much having them brawl around the arena, get the fans into it. Hayato did a dive off the balcony there, and the finishing stretch of them setting up the Spanish fly and then Hayato doing a dive was phenomenal, and it set up the best move in wrestling history, the 450 splash, to win as well. My old finishing move. And Asuki did it perfect. It felt like a huge win afterwards. I didn't love the post-match angle, though, because it's like, I wanted to see these guys, because they set up, they got this big win, they were about to cut a heroic promo, and in a great match the fans loved. And then like 5 different guys come out. It is like, hey, I want to challenge you guys. Like, I want to challenge you. It's like, who's the teammates? Who's fighting who? I mean, they settled that by the time, today they settled that. But when it happened at the time, I was like, oh man, you should have let him have a winning promo in there. But that was a good match. The tag match with Go and Suwama was great. Like, that was my wrestling. Seeing these old, grumpy bastards fight each other and just hit each other as hard as they can. No fancy stuff between Go and Suwama. They wanted to fight. They kept going after the match. There was heat. It felt legit. The fans were rallying behind Suwama, which I thought was a cool like a cool unexpected twist, kind of, because Go is technically the All Japan guy now, but I think in all of our hearts, Suwama is an All Japan guy, and Go is a Noah guy, and that's how the fans reacted, and it made it seem like a huge deal. So I love that match. I went 4 stars on the Go and Suwama match and the Kento and Hideki match, and the All Asia tag I'd have it 3.5 or maybe 3 3/4. That was a really fun match. I thought the other two were a little bit better. The NWA match was the one down point for the fans. And it just seems kind of weird. They brought in Silas for like this
for this
short
match.
Yeah. I said on the you make your point first.
About this match. This is an NWA World Title match, and the last time we had an NWA World Title match in All Japan Pro Wrestling, it was EC3. And that was just atrocious. He beat Honda back then and just felt completely out of place. So I was ready to hate this match, but actually, I didn't think it was that bad.
No.
I thought that Mason played a good role. They only gave him 7 minutes to play with Ashino, so that didn't result in anything really great. But for that, what he was given and what he made out of it, I thought it was a good outing for him.
I just think it would have been better if they had given him, like, if he had wrestled on the tour leading up.
Yeah,
like,
why couldn't he have a tour?
Yeah, like, give him build-up matches, because when he came out, this was a super hot crowd. But when he entered, it was like it was like a record scratch, like, and then everyone stopped making noise. Yeah. It's nothing against him, but they just don't have anything reason to know him, really.
Yeah.
So I think if he had been built up, because I think there's something there with him. He's not a bad worker, and I think he tried his best with what they gave him, but he wasn't set up to succeed. I would say with this, but now at least, maybe on NWA they can brag about it, like, hey, he defended the belt in Japan against Ashino, he's really great. Cut a promo with him. It's nothing against him. I just think that was the down point for the fans. It's because they didn't build it up enough. The 8-man tag before that, I really liked. I thought it was way better than usual for an undercard multi-man match. I don't know what's with Sekimoto, but somehow he has the best chemistry of anybody with Kumar Rashi. Like, whenever Kumar Rashi wrestles anybody, he's like a really mediocre wrestler. But when he wrestles Sekimoto, he looks great for some reason. Like, and Sekimoto is just the man. Kengo getting the win. Like, how can I not love this here? Instead of, I thought even the Saitos looked better than usual in their role. I don't know if they were just energized by the fans.
I guess so.
But I thought that was a really fun match. It set up a great title challenge with Kengo and Sekimoto going for the Saitos. And then we got the best match of any show this week. Well, not then. It happened before it. We're going in reverse order, but still.
Yes. Dylan, what a match.
Dan and Sego, man. 2 pros here. And I really liked how they worked this match, because we had seen them. I've been into this whole tour, actually. You've seen some good stuff. Like, Hideki and Kento in the build-up tags were really good. Like, they had some great fire with each other. But also, Dan and Sego have had great moments of...
They had like 16 build-up matches to this title match.
That's true. But in all of them, they had some really good stuff to it, like a good fire. And I really liked that. I thought that they did a great job where they worked the match in a way where it wasn't fast-paced. They started out kind of building to the explosion, pretty much.
Yeah.
And once we got there, and I the work they did even building it up was really great. Much like the early work at Hideki and Kento, I thought that was some really great wrestling. Here, though, instead of going into a Kento formula match, they went into a great Dan power match with these two guys going at it. And I like that it gives the company a little bit of an identity, too, to have these two kind of bigger guys. Power Juniors going at it and doing some good technique with Sego, who I think Sego's a great wrestler. Like, I always enjoy watching him. I love that he got the belt. I'm totally fine with him putting it on Dan. And I just thought by the end of this match, the crowd was so fired up for this. They will will Dan to win. And this felt like a main event match on the second match of the show. Like, if this were the main event, I would say this was an awesome main event. And it was the second match on the show, and it felt important. And I love what they're doing with the division. You've got Dan as the champion, and Atsuki and Hayato as All Asians. Like they continue to really impress me with this junior division. And Sego was a fine champion. It's a shame he had to lose, but nothing wrong with losing to Dan. Good respect. He put the belt around his waist at the end. I was like, this is real wrestling right here. This is what I want to see.
It was really great. It was really great. A couple of points to this.
Yeah.
A couple of points to this. My friend Raphael from Switzerland, when we talked about it on Straight Wrestling, he said that both of these guys would be heavyweights in other companies. I guess so. Especially specifically in New Japan Pro Wrestling or in Noah, Dan Tamura and Sego Tachibana would be in the heavyweight tournaments.
They could use those guys. Actually, they wish they could have these guys in their heavyweight tournaments.
And when you look at it, Sego Tachibana's title run, he didn't have a single successful defense. But what is left from this run is that Sego Tachibana is now a credible wrestler in All Japan Pro Wrestling. And in this run, he had 2 great title matches. So that's a win.
Yes. Yeah, his win was great, and this was also great. I think that's what they were kind of going for with the Callum thing with New Japan, is like, just giving him the belt will establish him.
Exactly. That's what I said before, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe that'll work out, but this definitely worked out. This Sego run, because I totally agree with you. Even without it having, thankfully the tournament kind of bridged that out, like the carnival coming in between the defenses, so it feels bigger than it really was. But I thought it was great booking. It was a great match, and like you said, now elevated a guy to where he could have title matches for the next decade as a junior champion, and who knows, maybe one day these guys will be heavyweights even in All Japan. They could move them up one day, but even if not, they've got a really thriving division with all sorts of guys. Even in the opener, they worked really hard, a lot of the junior guys. So you've got a lot going on in the division. It's very healthy. It's not a bunch of gimmicks, like I said, about the Best of Super Juniors. You just got guys who can wrestle good. Like, that's what All Japan is about, top to bottom right now. And that's why the company's been on such a great turnaround, I would say, because they were going in that gimmick direction last year. And somehow or another, pretty much, really, when Go came in, I think that was the first step to getting to where we are now. And it felt like the whole company kind of followed his lead after that. And I think, like I said, this was a great show, top to bottom. Even the match that we liked the least, the NWA match, was still not a bad match at all.
No, decent match.
It was just too short. And maybe one day they'll have a future match where they give them time and it turns out great.
So, a couple of more talking points to the junior division here.
Yeah.
You alluded to the first match on this Korakuen Hall show. We had Fuminori Abe, Hokuto Omori, Masayuki Kono, and Yasuo Takayano, and Yuya Aoki, a bunch of guys, against Hyo Ogawa, Musashi, Sekiyoshi Yuka, Shota Kofuji, and Zion. First of all, Dylan, what do you think about Hyo Ogawa?
Let me answer a question with a question. What do you think of Hyo Ogawa's hair?
I think it looks great. It sets him apart.
Absolutely.
I think he already is a really good worker. He already has a pretty clear and distinct moveset that he uses. He has this backdrop with a kip up that he does that the crowd is already very much into. His hair helps a lot. He is trained. I think he's trained by Seko Tachibana and Kuroshio, right? He's from Uptown.
Yeah.
So I really like the guy. I think he's really good.
Me too. I really enjoy him. I hope he continues to stick around All Japan, because I think he's a really good get. Like I said, the fans were really into everybody in this match, I thought, though, especially for an opener. It started off with, like, Mori jumped somebody. I can't even remember who he attacked, but basically all 10 guys started brawling after that. And that set the tone for the show, because this was, like, again, this was a very fan-friendly show. If you were in attendance at this show, they booked it in a way to where, like, all the good guys won. Like, it was a brawl all over the place in multiple matches, not just this one. But it was chaotic. Everybody got a chance to shine. I really hope to see more of Aoki, actually. Wanted to see what he could do in All Japan. I think he's the type of guy that would fit in well. And I've always said he's the kind of guy that every company could use. He was like the top star in Big Japan. I don't know if he'll get there really in an All Japan level, but I think he's the exact kind of guy, he's kind of like a young Kengo in some ways, and like what kind of role he could fulfill, where he's like the gatekeeper, occasional title challenger level guy, definition of maybe get a mid-card title here and there. I think he fits in really well with the company. It's going to be interesting to see because to me, he looked bigger than a lot of these guys.
Mhm.
In the match, I think he was more of a heavyweight in Big Japan too.
Yeah.
And I think he would fit in better. But I mean, we've seen. I mean, we just talked about it with Dan and Sego.
Well, he's 194 pounds officially, so he fits in the junior division. In All Japan, he does.
yeah. See, so that's good. And he worked as a junior here mainly, besides Zion and Kono. Well, yeah, he's still at it all these years later. They built it around, and at the time I was like, they tried to set something up with Yano pinning Kofuji here, and then he was the first one that came out after the All Asia tag titles, which they at least paid off in this next match.
Followed?
Or not the next match. Yeah, the show that followed. Yes. So they set it up with
Yeah, exactly. He came out, and then Shota Kofuji had a great moment after the All Asia Tag Title match. Both Yasutaka Yano and him came out alone, but they named their tag team partners. And in Yano's case, it was Yuma Aoyagi, and Kofuji had a great moment because he just said, "Nihon ichi kakkoii," which translates to the coolest guy in Japan right now, which is, of course, Yuma Anzai coming off of The Bachelor.
See, that was funny because I didn't even notice that. I just knew that they all came out. But yeah, now that you said that, that makes total sense. Because I was thinking afterwards in the review I did, I think on the Patreon, I was like, I don't know who their partners are. I just know that all these people came out to challenge for the belts. That at least makes a lot more sense. And they obviously paid it off on the next show. It was good booking. You had Yano get the win here, so Kofuji can get his moment on the next show on there. So I thought it was really well done. Like I said, just good wrestling, good crowd, good booking. Like, what more can you ask for? Like in every match, pretty much.
I'm gonna ask you one more question here about the junior division.
Yeah.
Hokuto Omori, after he disbanded his his Hokuto-gun, it has now stated that he's going down to the junior division. What do you think about that move?
It felt like he didn't have any upside as a heavyweight anymore. So he could try to reinvent himself in a really good division. I think maybe he could contribute there more so. I mean, if they're going to break up the comedy angle, and I presume that maybe he just fell out of love with doing that every night.
Maybe.
He wants to kind of get things back on where he was going before. The junior division is a fine place to be. That's where he started. And I think, again, you're looking at these guys. Like I said, everybody in this match, outside of Zion and Kono, is not only a member of the junior division, but they're over with the crowds. And a lot of them, like people like somebody like Seiki Yoshioka, I think is a fantastic worker. Musashi is great. Abe is great. You know, you're seeing all these guys coming up that are younger, and they're getting a chance to grow. And I think the junior division is a great place for Omori to try and get something back. It feels like, though, I will say, with all of these guys, it's almost as crowded as the heavyweight division, but maybe even a little more so. So he's going to have to really step his game up as a junior or a heavyweight. But I wish him well. I used to be a big fan of his when he debuted as a rookie, and I'm hopeful that he can get some of that back going forward.
You know, we always go back to this Real World Tag League final when he was teaming with Katsuhiko Nakajima, where we thought that Omori could really be something, but they never went with him. So going to the junior division could actually be like a good move for him and for the division to get more depth into it with a guy that isn't going to be anything more than like Gaora TV title level, I think.
Yeah.
At least in their perception, he is.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's a good move. And now, at this show that just happened that we both watched, Dylan, in the second match of this show, first of all, we had a really, really good opener with Hideki Suzuki going over Seiko Tachibana in 8:38. This was the Superpower Series show from Shinjuku First Ring on the 26th of June. That just happened.
I love the fact that you had to backtrack because you knew I wasn't going to let you skip that match because I loved it so much.
Yes. Hideki Suzuki and Seiko Tachibana, great stuff on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree with what you were saying about the finish. I just, for whatever reason, But I know it's a reason because they're both really good. But they have great chemistry together. I really do think that, like, for some reason they're like star-crossed wrestling soulmates. You know, in another world where Seigo could be a main event heavyweight, which I would love, these guys would be like eternal rivals. I feel like that's how good they wrestle together. It's like it flows so well. It's beautiful in a lot of ways.
Yes.
So I really, really love that match.
They could be eternal rivals, but they could also be a very fun act for an All Asia Tag Team title run.
Oh, I would love that. They would be a great fit to, like, they just feel like they fit together though, don't they? Just as wrestlers. Yeah. I love that idea.
So what I was going to start with here is that the second match of the show produced a new junior title match because apparently somebody in All Japan Pro Wrestling watched Dragon Gate and they saw Naoki Doi have a tremendous title match with Ryoya Tanaka there, and they figured, maybe we can get something out of Naoki Doi again. So he pinned Dentamura with the V9 clutch. While I'm not a fan of the new champion losing in his next match, I think the setup was done well, and Dentamura is going to have a great first defense against Naoki Doi.
I think this is a great decision. Again, another person we didn't even mention with all the juniors that are in vogue today in All Japan. Doi coming in as the outsider, I think that's a perfect V1 defense. It kind of gives you the vibe that they're going to set Dan up. Like, this is going to be a good reign, I feel like, for Dan. They're going to give him a chance to really carry this title for a little while. You've got Atsuki and Hayato doing their thing in the All Asia division. So you've got a chance to give Dan 3, 4, 5 defenses before he gets in jeopardy. And I think this is going to be a great match. I can't wait to see Doi in another big match after, like you said, a fantastic match versus Tanaka in DG.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there was great stuff. And, well, up and down the card, we had some good stuff here. Yeah. Very interesting was that Rising Hayato teamed with Seki Yoshioka against Atsuki Aoyagi and Musashi. They switched tag team partners, basically, in this match. Was fun stuff, too. Really mixing up well in the junior division, actually, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Here. I didn't really know what to make of the three-way match that followed. Rei Saito defeated Shotaro Ashino and Hyo Ogawa. I don't know, Dylan. Why? Why did that match happen?
I think that's the only realistic reaction to that match. Why?
Why though? Why?
Why not though?
This show was topped off by two more really good matches. First, Go Shiozaki, Jun Saito, and Ren Ayabe defeated Kento Miyahara, Ryukyo Honda, and Kuma Arashi with the Iron Maiden from Ayabe against Miyahara. Miyahara had to tap out. By the way, no, he didn't tap out. The referee called the match, right? He did?
Yeah.
I think. So Ayabe is going to challenge for the Triple Crown on July 25 in Kobe, because the Saito brothers already defend their tag team title against the team of Kengo Mashimo and Daisuke Sekimoto in the main event of the July 19 Korakuen Hall show, and that is also basically already sold out, Dylan.
All Japan's just on a great run right now. Like, they're having good shows up and down. I think they gained a lot from Anzai being on the show, The Bachelorette, and I think that they've kept that momentum going. And they haven't even pushed Anzai really in the main event yet, although he was in the main event of the show today, on a smaller show. But I think that they're on a really great run right now.
Yeah, it's interesting that they are keeping him busy with other stuff, so that Kento Miyahara can get more defenses of the Triple Crown. He's now here in this All Asia Tag Team title project, probably going to get another project down the line before he gets to face Kento Miyahara. So that's also done well. Keeping him away from the title is what they should do right now.
And I think it sets up the tournament, the Odo tournament, very well to do kind of these because I think that's when Anzai is going to probably make the move that they can either have him win or even be a go to the final and maybe pull a swerve if they want to keep this Kento thing going, which is nothing wrong with that again. What do you think of Ayabe being the next challenger for Kento?
That's fine. He's not going to win, but it's another opportunity for him to show that he actually could be a singles guy.
Yeah, exactly. I think that it's a filler defense, but there's more behind it than usual because Like, he's a guy that's really grown in the tag ranks with Titans of Calamity. I thought his tournament was up and down, but better than years prior, for sure. And so we're going to get to see how, like you said, how he handles himself in a main event spot there. So I like it. I think it's actually a good decision. Again, it gives them something to do. And then the main event, the All Asia number one contender match, I thought that was a really great match. Actually, I do have to say. Yeah, like I said, you know, Anzai, he feels like he's got the Midas touch. Like, everything he does, even if he's not even the reason behind it, it's not like he was the main focus of this match, but it's like anytime he's in the general area, like, something great's gonna happen. You know, like, you want to be with him. You know, like, I feel like I would try to be next to him. Just all I want him to do is stand by me while I order while I order a soda from a vending machine. Because I feel like if he's in the general area, you're gonna get 2 sodas that pop out. Like, that's how good he is at just everything.
This was the most amazing moment of ordering soda in the world, because you stood next to Yuma Anzai. 5 stars for this action.
That's how I feel. Like, I mean, if there was only 1 soda that came out, then that's not a 5-star. That proves me wrong. That he's not the Midas touch guy. But, like, if he is in the general area, order a soda. You're gonna get 2.
Just look how smooth the soda came out of the vending machine. That's Anzai's power.
That's true. But I mean, it always does. You know, it always does, usually, unless it's a malfunctioning machine, which, I mean, that Anzai has nothing to do with that. He's not a mechanic, Strigga. He's only a one man.
Oh, all right.
But so anyway, this match was more about Kofuji and Yano, though.
Yes.
And I thought they had really great chemistry together, I do have to say, here. And I thought, again, the booking made it to where Yano got the win on the other show.
Exactly.
So it built up Kofuji's big moment here, and I thought everybody played their roles well. With Anzai and Aoyagi being kind of like the big brothers on their team, they did good when they were together, don't get me wrong. But the juniors were the ones that got it. I thought they worked really well together. They had great pace. I like how they worked. Even though it was a 22-minute match, I thought they handled it in a way where they would do something with Anzai and Aoyagi and then bring it up for the more junior members of the team to pick things up again. So it never got boring, even at over 20 minutes. And yeah, like, all 4 men, they did a really good job here. They did a good job, and I thought the decision to have Kofuji and Anzai win, I think that's going to be a fantastic match. It's a perfect side quest for Anzai too. Kofuji could easily take the fall to one of Hayato or Aoyagi, but still, it actually puts Kofuji over as well going forward to be a part of this match.
Love the finish.
It was really good.
Gorgeous style clash on Yano.
Yeah, it was great. That whole finishing sequence between those two was really good.
Yes, yeah, just up and down the card, great stuff. So, yeah, like I said before, we have matches coming up for July 19 in Korakuen Hall. Mentioned the World Tag Team title match that is coming up. Except for that, we have the All Asia Tag Team title match that is now set in stone with the champion team of Atsuki Aoyagi and Rising Hayato defending against Yuma Anzai and Shota Kofuji. That's an amazing match, actually, on paper.
yeah, right.
And this show just only has these 2 tag team title matches, and it already sounds great.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, man, they're just on like, this whole company, they're just rolling right now. I feel like they're firing on all cylinders in every sense of the word.
Something early this year, because it just feels different.
I mean, we're only speculating here. I can't say for sure or anything.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, like I said, I think things started to change when Go came in. And it feels like after Aoyagi had his legal issue and got suspended, maybe Go got a little bit more power. Like, but backstage is kind of how it feels like to me. Because that was a big change. Like, once Aoyagi got I don't even think he got arrested. Did he? Or did he get turned in or something? Yeah, he didn't even get arrested. But
I don't know.
Yeah, like, but he had that traffic thing where he ran the red light.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah, he got suspended for that.
He got suspended for that. Right. Yeah, thank you for correcting me on that. Once he got suspended for a little while, it feels like Go kind of stepped into whatever role that Yuma had, and he's changed a lot for the better. Like, because I think, like, ever since he's come in, like I said, this company, if you look at this company before Go came in, those last few months, it was terrible. Like it was awful. Remember when Anzai was gone those months?
And
It felt like the company
really,
fell apart.
Yeah, we were really fearful because they put Go Shiozaki with one of those acts with Havoc, and we're thinking, oh man, he doesn't really fit with those guys. It just looks goofy when he does the Havoc thing.
Yeah, he made it work.
They did a speed run of that, of him being there and being gone.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that like I can't remember who I was talking to, but I was saying something to the effect of like, that worked better than any of us thought.
Yeah.
But the carnival showed us like this is the Go Shiozaki we really want. Like we don't need have it go. We need go the main eventer Shiozaki coming in, and I think that helped out a lot. And Yuma came around really revitalized too from his suspension when he got thrown into the carnival. And that might not have ever happened if Cyrus hadn't have not been there for that. That wasn't supposed to happen, but he took that opportunity, and it feels like something in his mindset changed for him specifically. Because just like the match we talked about just now, the tag match with Yano and Kofuji and Anzai, he looks so locked in. Like this is a guy that's so motivated. And I really love what he's done. And the whole company, like you said, something changed. It might not have been Go. It may have been something totally different. But whatever happened, this company has had a great turnaround this first half of the year.
And why it's so difficult for companies like Pro Wrestling Noah or New Japan Pro Wrestling to figure out who could be their main champion, with All Japan Pro Wrestling, there's a lot of guys that have had the title and that could have the title going forward. You mentioned Go Shiozaki. He's just on a roll right now, collecting victories left and right. He could also be someone that dethrones Kento Miyahara ultimately. Mm-hmm. Then Yuma Anzai is there. You can always get in Jun Saito or Rei Saito. Yuma Aoyagi is there. You can always do Hideki again. Kengo Mashimo is there. There's a lot of guys that you could potentially have a Triple Crown match with.
Sekimoto. Yeah.
Sekimoto,
I'd be down for that. Him versus Kento Triple Crown. Yeah. Yeah. So they've got a lot of good guys here. And they utilize the Dragon Gate talent very well between Kato and Ishin. And Doi's coming in for the junior division as well. Maybe they can bring a heavyweight in later on for to face Kento at some point. So you've got a lot of good options here. Like I said, this company is really looking good lately. I've really enjoyed it. And I do got to say, Strig, when I was watching that Dominion show, I was feeling like dead behind the eyes, like while I was watching it. It's like I just want this to be over, like at this point. But a lot of wrestling these days, there's been a lot of struggles, like with a lot of different companies, not just New Japan. But when I've watched this show, like especially the 18th, but even this show today, this was a really good show. It's going to go under the radar because there wasn't a big Triple Crown match on it. But this show, top to bottom, was so good. You had an excellent main event. And it's like, man, this All Japan is what I want wrestling to be like. Like, why don't more companies do this?
Really telling. I mentioned the Shinjuku Phase show from the 11th before, and we talked about this one here too, and the shown on the 18th, you can also make the same statement for. You can tell that a company is doing well when the shows that they put on are structured well. And that is the case for All Japan Pro Wrestling.
I totally agree with that. Like I said, I think it's not just good wrestling, but this company is ran the right way from a wrestling sense, like how they're booking the shows. Top to bottom, their structure was so well. I think you made a great point there, and I think that really helps make everybody look a lot better at the end of the day going in there. And I know that they've got a gut.
It just helps everybody tremendously when the show has a good flow. It makes everybody look better.
I totally agree at the end of the day. I know that they just had, I just saw a thing. There was a news story out that Weekly Pro Wrestling, they did an interview with President Fukuda on there. And he had a lot to say. I haven't seen that yet. I want to try and track down, see what I can track on that. But the fact that he's getting that kind of publicity and stepping up and doing an interview, hopefully it's a sign that he's not, you're usually not going to do an interview of saying, everything sucks right now. Like, so I'm presuming he's going to say some positive things there.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, by the way, I hate this company. I hate wrestling. I hate everyone in it. everything's bad. I want to close it down. That's why I'm doing this interview right now. I don't think that's what happened. I think he probably said some really good stuff. I can't wait to check it out. But the fact that he's doing it, you got the great publicity with Onsai. I get it, and that's some. I was doubting this company so heavily last year, but they've really turned it around, man. Like they've done a great job, like from every aspect. But obviously, for us as fans, the wrestling in ring is always going to be the most important thing, and they've definitely turned that around.
They did. Yes, Dylan. It was great discussing All Japan Pro Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling with you here. A tale of two very different companies. In June 2026. I think you can say that. But G1 Climax always is a good opportunity for the company to turn things around. Let's hope for the best here, and let's hope that All Japan Pro Wrestling continues this run because it's really entertaining right now, and I enjoyed it tremendously. It's last time we were here, we were on a therapy session. I think now we found something that we can hold on to. And Japanese Pro Wrestling, that's All Japan Pro Wrestling for now. Let's enjoy it while it lasts.
And there's always ebbs and flows. Like, there's going to be a time in the future where maybe All Japan isn't as great as it is right now. And maybe a New Japan will rise up. Maybe the Aaron Wolf has a spectacular tournament. The new guys kill it, and everybody's doing great. Like, that time can happen. Things can turn around really fast in wrestling. That's one thing that we've been doing this for over a decade together now, and obviously we've been fans for longer than that. But this can turn around really fast. So I try never to lose hope completely, because I've seen companies go through bad runs and bounce back many, many times. And I think we can do that. We can see that again, and I'm hopeful we can.
Absolutely, Dylan. So, I think that was it for the Eastern Lariat for now, right?
One more thing I do want to say before we get out of here. I want everybody to pay attention. Go on the Twitter at Eastern Lariat. All that blue sky, all that. We're going to have the half-year awards this year. It's going to be for every company you want, every wrestler you want, as long as it's in Japan. I don't try and sneak in American wrestlers. I see you trying to do that. Don't do that. Now, even Forbidden Door, that's an AEW show. Like, look at that card. Don't try and tell me that. Yeah, don't try and sneak that in. But everything else, all kinds of awards, MVP, tag team, best bout, rookie of the year, junior awards, everything you know and love on the past Eastern Lariat awards. It's back again. Talk about the first 6 months of the year. Let's try and reflect for a second. Let's step back, reflect about the past half year, because a lot's happened, and there's been times where we've faced with negativity. We wonder what's going on in Japanese wrestling, but this is a great show where we're going to really spotlight the best of the best here. And definitely, if you are going to vote in the Rookie of the Year awards, definitely watch Celine Masora and all of her matches, because she is one of the best rookies for sure.
Have to do that.
Not just you, but everybody out there listening to this. I'm advising you, and I'm begging you and pleading and asking you respectfully to do such a thing, to have the best awards that you can. I don't have any idea who's going to win these awards, like, to be honest with you. I have no vibe. Like, if you even think about MVP, like, we literally are just doing this off the top of our heads. Nobody stands out to me. Like, honestly, like, as like, of course it's so-and-so.
I have an idea, but it doesn't. It's not like that. It's blatantly obvious.
Okay. Well, I have an idea too. Like, somebody has popped into my head that we may have talked about on the show. But I do think that's possible. We're going to see, though. I want to see all the awards. We had a great awards last year. Kamatani won both the Joshi MVP and overall MVP. She lost her title a couple of months ago, and then they changed the title belts again a couple of days ago on the red belt in Stardom, which was a good match, by the way. I reviewed that on the EL Weekly on the Patreon, the Stardom show, the conversion that happened there. So check that out if you would like. EL Weekly is doing newsletters. The main story this past week, I just put it out the other day. By the time you listen to this, will be Ice Ribbon's 20th anniversary. I list 20 wrestlers that made Ice Ribbon so great over the years. The 20 most important wrestlers to Ice Ribbon. By my view, one of my OG favorite companies, For sure, I had a lot to say about a lot of wrestlers there. I thought it was I can't say, but I did my best to make it a well-done article. And then reviews of the Noah Tag League, the Seedling Show, the Marigold Show, and all kinds of other stuff in the EL Weekly. So lots of fun stuff there. Audio reviews of All Japan and Stardom the past week. So you're getting good stuff there. And I'll be back with more, obviously, as more things happen. So keep your eyes open and, keep your ears open too. But most importantly, I hope you guys enjoyed the show this week. I really am so happy, Strigga, that you came in, even though you were swelteringly hot today. You made time to do it for the people. And we, hopefully you guys all enjoyed it out there, and can't wait to come back next time to talk about all the awards votes that you guys have.
Absolutely. So thank you all for listening, and goodbye.
Sayonara.